Hi my little shardies, welcome and welcome back. This is Christina with Shhh Online. Today we're going to be working on part 2 of the water wheel and circle of life. Alright, this is what we were working on in the last video. I did realize that I missed some brown here. I'm not going to fully color that right now, but I think I am going to put a little brown in that area just so I don't mess it up and color it the color of the water around it. So I'm going to use 941 light umber. Let me zoom in just a little more. Again, this is not going to be the finished part of this brown here. I'm just putting that in. Alright, I just wanted to put colored enough not to accidentally color it something else. Alright, I think the easiest way for me to proceed at this point and breaking this image down piece by piece is to do the parts above the paddles first. And then I'll get an idea on how I'm going to do this background here, if I'm going to do it a lighter shade of blue or a darker shade of blue. So we'll see. I think I'm going to start with 208 into Throne Blue. And I'm just going to start where the darkest part I think would be, so toward the bottom where there's a lot of lines. And I think for the sake of keeping this video as quick as possible, I'm just going to work on this section right here, and then I may continue off camera and then show you what it looks like when I'm done. Alright, now I think I'm going to come in with some 1022 Mediterranean, and I'm going to go right into that blue that I just put on there and pull it up a little bit past there, and then let me zoom in. I'm going to go to the bottom part of this little wave right here. So I'm going to leave that top open for a lighter color. And on these, on the little bottom part of the triangle area, I'm going to put this color. And then across the back part of the wave about that far up. Now I'm going to come in with 904 light cerulean, and I'm just going to color most of what's left. I'm going to leave a little tiny bit of white to help with the highlighting, but not a lot. And then you're going to want to carry that up into these smaller areas up here. So I probably won't have this one as dark, so I'm just going to put a little bit of this down since this is the lightest blue I'm using. And then I'll go back in and add those other colors in there. That's how I intend to carry on with these wave splashes across. And then I'll probably come back in and put at least another layer on there. And again, I'll do this off of camera, and then I'll come back and I'll show you at the next step what to do. Okay, so I finished going around each of the paddles here, and I went ahead and finished that, and then I added some background here, and I left some areas so that we can do it together. So let me go ahead and zoom in, and I'll show you what I've been doing. So for the background here, I have been using 1087 powder blue. And just everywhere there isn't a wave, I went ahead and added that color in there. Now I'll probably take like a white Posca pen or a white gel pen at the end of this and really add in some extra highlights on these waves, potentially some bubbles. Then I took some light cerulean and I went around the outsides where all the dots are. And where there's a lot of dots, I just kind of did a lot of the blue there. Then I used my 208 Inditherm blue and just a little bit on the edges of these, I added a little bit of that cerulean blue to kind of just give it a little bit more interest. And I went ahead and very darkly put the blue here. Now this is a weird color, and I say that because if you add it over top of some of these other colors, it changes the color of how it looks. So if you go directly on the white paper, you get this really dark color here, but if you color over another blue, this is kind of the color that you usually would get from that. All right, so that's how I did the outer part. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do this inner part. So I'm going to come in with my powdered blue and I'm going to color in this area here. Try not to color inside the little bubbles if you can avoid it. Now I'm going to take the 208 Inditherm blue and I'm just going to kind of color very lightly. I'm not pressing very hard here, the outer corners. And I'm not going to do it here because this is one spoke, so it's actually over here. And then up here around the top. And then I'm coming in with my light cerulean and I'm blending right into that. And now I'm coming in with my powder blue again, and I'm just going to kind of blend that all together. And for the bubbles, I've been using a combination of the 208 Inditherm blue and the 904 light cerulean for the most part. And then the ones that have all the lines on one side, that is where I'm putting the dark Inditherm blue. That, and this one also has it. And then I'm coming back in with my 904 and I'm doing the other side of it. A couple of these in here, I'm using this 904 and just randomly selecting a few to use that color on. And then I'll go back through with this darker blue, and some of the ones, if they're getting lost, I'm just kind of using this to outline them. And then some of the little dots, I'm also using this 208. And again, I might come in here too with a white Posca and make some of these white. I also came around the edge of this paddle here and I added this cerulean, this light cerulean 904, and I just came up and kind of faded into this area here, and then I went through with my 208 and again just very lightly pulled it up into that color and then blended it out by putting another layer in. And then if it was really harsh at the top here, I just added my 1087 again and blended it out. All right, so now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to finish these paddles that I did not finish the other day. So I already came in here a little bit with sepia and I darkened just those two areas there. Now I'm going to come in with the light umber and I'm going to color right into that sepia. And I am using a heavier hand than the first layer. And I'll come back in again with the sepia. And I'm using a very heavy hand when I'm outlining this right underneath of where this petal is, because that's going to be a shadow. And I'll probably even put a little tiny bit of black there. And I'll use my 946 dark brown, and I'm going to blend right after that into the lighter color as well. And I'm going to come down and I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to start where there's a lot of lines right here, and I'm going to use my dark brown. And I'm only going to do more of a line on the top part here. Then I'll use my light umber and blend into it. You can choose to either leave it like that, or if you want to, you can throw your sepia in there as well, right on the end, and darken that up. I think there's going to be kind of like a shadow here with this bubble, so I'm going to throw a little bit of this sepia right there. Probably a little from this wave. And I'm going to do the same thing in this area here. I'm going to use my sepia. Just because I already have it out, I will go ahead and put my darkest line here. And I'm going to put a thinner line on the outside on this one. Come in with my dark brown, and I'm going to blend up from that sepia. I think there might be a little brown that peeks through there. And now I'm going to put some light umber and color in the middle sections and blend it into that sepia and dark brown. All right, so this is what we have so far. And again, I still haven't fully decided what I want to do about this wheel on the top here. I could go brown and it would go really nicely, but I think there seems to be like little flowers or something in here, and I might do those like a pink or a red or like a salmon color. So I might want to bring that into this wheel. So what I do think I'm going to do is this main part of the image here, I think I'm going to go ahead and do light umber. And I'm going to leave all the little dots right here open so that maybe I can bring that, that salmon pink or whatever I'm going to choose to use for that color. And now I'm going to come back in again with my light umber. And I'm going to blend right into that sepia. I think I'm going to come in with my dark brown now. And I think I'm going to do this part of the spoke dark brown. You will have to use a sharper pencil to get around these little circles. And I think I'm going to come down here into this area too with this dark brown. And now I'm going to use my sepia to try to help this stand out a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of go around where that black line is and try to cover it up a little bit with the sepia color, and then bring a little into it here. So I don't know if you can tell the difference between this side and this side, but I'm trying to make it like kind of 3D-ish. You can do the same thing for this inner wheel here. Again, this is not exactly how I would color other pictures. I'm coloring it this way because it's a mandala, or, well, mandala-like. All right, and I'm going to come in with my 941 again, and I'm going to do this circle here. And then the second outer circle, and that little dot in the middle there, I'm going to use the sepia. I think what I'm going to do in these little circles here is whatever we choose to do, like the flowers, or maybe if you're going to do like a colorful fish here, you can incorporate the color of the fish into that center of the wheel. That way you're pulling that color from the outer part of this image into the middle of the image. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and color these little, I don't know if they're sand dollars or flowers. I don't know. We're going to see what they turn out to be though. I think I'm going to color them. The main color is going to be 939 Peach. And then I'm going to throw in some 1017 Clay Rose, just to darken it up a little bit in the center part there. You're not going to be able to do a whole lot. They're very small, so like, not going to be able to get super intricate with them. Like, even if you just wanted to paint or color them one solid color, you could probably get away with doing that without a problem. And I do think I'm going to pull in this peach color here. And you're not going to be able to see a lot of what I'm doing here. It's very small, but if you want, you can go ahead and add just a little bit of this clay rose at the edges. You probably at least do it on the bigger ones here, but as you get closer into the center, I think the pieces are going to be, the design's kind of too small to do that. I think I'm going to throw some dark brown right here in between these. All right, everyone, I finished that up off camera, and then I started working on the fish. Those are not the highlight of this page to me. The highlight of the page to me is the wheel and the water. So I didn't put a ton of effort into the fish, but I will show you what I did in case you want to do the same thing. So I left a few down here that I did not do. Let me zoom in. So with these little ones here, I used 1020 Celadon green. And I just, in some of the little spots, I tried not to do too close together, like, you know, every other space, kind of like a checkered. I put this green in, and then I pulled it down a little into the tail and some into the face. And then I used rose pink, PC 1018. And I colored in the opposite areas that I did not color in with the green. Most of the fish are on the small side, so I didn't put a lot of effort into them, I'm not gonna lie. And I don't plan on it. Again, I don't want them to be the forefront of what I'm doing. I did this same scenario with this longer fish here, where I did mostly pink here and on the tail, and then I threw in some of PC 909 grass green into like this area right here. And then this fish right here is the ones I did here. And I used PC 133, and I just kind of threw a little bit of that blue in. Didn't really matter where to me. And then I went back over with the 909. I didn't want to introduce too many colors into this, because again, I want the wheel to stand out, not the fish. And then I went back in with the blue and just blended it a little bit. Most of the image is far too small to do anything with great detail. I mean, the larger fish you can do with more detail if you would like. And the really small fish, I just used 1017 clay rose, and I just lightly colored them. There's a spot that you can do 2 colors if you wanted to, but I personally didn't. I wasn't worried about the little fish in the image. The main part of the image, again, was the wheel, which is what I was focused on. Now, if you want, you can come into this image with either a white gel pen. I have a Uniball Signo. I think this is the Impact gel pens. And you can just add some little touches of white. So like there. Again, I'm not overthinking it. I'm just kind of spreading it out a little bit. And if you wanted to come off some of the water here, I know we left it white. You can always, you know, add a little here and there. If you really want to, you can kind of dot some of the scales on the fish. I'll just do it a little bit right here. Just help dim down that black line a little bit. But again, this is an optional thing. You do not have to do this. This spray here, if you want to add a little white to it. So I added some here and here. Try not to go like over dramatic here, just adding a little bit here and there. It's a busy page, so there's not a whole lot that's gonna stand out on its own. I mean, you could go nuts and try to hide the lines if you want to with this, but I'm not going to do that. That'd be a lot of work with this white gel pen. So let me zoom out. And there is my finished image. All right, I hope you guys have enjoyed this color along. If you like what you see, please make sure you hit like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you're told each and every time I post a new video. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, color happy, And remember, shh, it's our little secret.